Let me tell you about this guy right here. He just turned a 37 this past Monday. So
he didn't have to tell that, does
yeah,
he?
It's true.
Too late now.
We're getting closer to 40 every
Does that
year.
bother you? Judge Talley's with us.
It doesn't bother
Good
me.
morning, Judge.
It doesn't. Good morning, Judge Mitchell. It doesn't bother me at all. It's a blessing to be here another year. That's all I got.
I can't remember when I turned 40. It was so long ago.
I know that has been a minute or two, but you've been judged. Speaking of days and years and months,
2.5 years, and it's gone by real quick. It's gone by real quick.
I can tell you 20 years will go by quick.
Well, it's in the blink of an eye, and I'm blessed. I feel the same way I felt the day that I won, the day that I was sworn in. That it's a blessing every day I get to do something for the folks of Tallapoosa County.
I fully agree with you, Judge.
We got some really good people, so if you're doing something on behalf of them, they deserve more than I could ever give them.
You know, I used to tell folks when they'd walk up to the office and they'd be standing there, I'd be sitting at the desk, they'd say, "Can I come into your office?" I said, "No, you can come into your office.
Right.
I work for you."
Right.
And you're right. Every day you show up for work, you can do something to help somebody.
Right, and there's a lot going on in Tallapoosa County. I try to watch the show. I haven't watched it every morning, and I catch bits and pieces on the way to work. But I'm sure you've talked about, and I know I've seen you talk about the announcement of the graphite plant in Tallapoosa County. But
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I'd let the mayor speak to Ellick City's involvement. I'm sure he has, but Ellick City has a stake in that over there, so it's not, even though it's just, I had people ask, well, it's in Coosa County, what does that matter in Tallapoosa County, other than the fact that it's not a far drive for us.
Well, it was a partnership.
It's a partnership with
we
the city.
put together.
And so in the county, Tallapoosa County and Coosa County,
That's
Ellick
right.
City and Coosa County, and not only that, the utilities being provided by Alexander City, and so I'm on the Lake Martin Executive Committee, EDA.
That's right.
And then I'm on the executive committee, so I had some involvement. Shout out to Chad Odom and Denise Walls and a lot of other people that made that happen. But I always look at things like that with a skeptical eye. I've seen job announcements come and go, and then a shovel never gets put in dirt.
Right.
But it's one of those things that I would just really like to cheer that and hope that it does come to fruition, because I think it's a big deal in terms of driving up wages for our area, in terms of good jobs for our area, and they're not wrong about the potential for other businesses if they ever get here. If they ever get here and they're mining the graphite and the processing here, they're putting them into those electric car batteries, and so. I don't know, but very few many people that drive electric cars around here. But GM, Ford, they're making investments in that area. So
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, and I appreciate those kind words. We began talking to the older parent company of this graphite company over 12 years ago. But I was telling Kenny the other day, Judge, I was reading some stats on electric vehicles in Alabama. There are over 5,000 in Alabama today.
Wow.
Well, but
And that's going to grow.
There's two things to remember. One, it's not just your Teslas and whatnot. Ford and GM are making investments. They have target dates to be all electric with their new vehicles.
Ford has just rolled out an F-150.
Right, and so this is going to be more and more common, whether you like it or you don't like it. And the other thing is, and I think it's important to remember, that right now in California, or recently, they've had rolling blackouts that tell people not to plug their electric vehicle in. That power doesn't come from anywhere. It's a pipe dream to think that we're going to power how many ever vehicles are on the road. I know we got more vehicles in Tallapoosa County registered than we got people.
Wow.
So it's a pipe dream to think we're going to charge all those with windmill power. I mean, we're going to have to.
Well, that won't happen. I can tell you.
Right,
that will not happen.
right, and that's the reason they're telling people in California not to plug their vehicles in. So we're going to have to look at sustainable energy and energy like coal power. If we, I know that's kind of frowned upon now, but if we could, coal is one of those things that could get us, through any gap we needed. If we can run coal, and that will keep our electric vehicles going, so that we don't have to have gas vehicles. But you're going to have some type of carbon, either it's gasoline or
It's
coal.
got to be right now. It's got to be some type of
Right. We're not there yet. And
fuel.
if we had 5 million vehicles being plugged in versus 5,000 vehicles being plugged in Alabama, we would have a real big problem.
City complex, even the new municipal complex, even has the electrical stations,
Charging stations.
charging,
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow. So more and more folks, and I'm sure there's other places around. Those are the ones that I didn't know what in the heck they were, but I still like to. I'm a gas burner. I mean,
Right,
I'm
me
folks are
too.
diesel burners. But you're right. This is the future. I don't know anything about this graphite. I keep hearing. I'm like you. We like to not. We want to get excited, but it's still until it really happens. But I think.
We need to cheer for it to succeed.
Oh,
For success.
But I'm,
And if it does not succeed, fine. But I don't like to hear people say, well, blah blah blah. This is a big deal. This is not a small deal, and it's a big deal for our entire area, and we need to cheer for it.
I think where it could go though,
Right.
because we already heard the percentage of what China gets, and if the United States of America can cut into that,
Right.
10, 25, 50%, that is huge.
And if nothing else, the pandemic has taught us about supply chain issues, and that we don't need to
That's
be
right.
we don't need to be relying on foreign countries for our supply chain issues. That's why, other than labor and other factors, but that's some of the reasons you see some of the prices you see that and the amount of money we're printing.
But the three of us remember other things that were when it was first rolled out. It seemed like it would never happen.
right.
I remember as a youngster growing up thinking there'll never be anything to take the place of Eastman Kodak cameras.
Right. Well, again, they didn't invest in the future, and here we are.
Actually, they had it. They put it in their safe, and they said this will never catch
Right.
on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They didn't.
They didn't. That's right. And now, like you said a while ago, everybody has a camera.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I think about you being in for 2.5 years. You didn't plan on this pandemic. You didn't know. You didn't have a notebook and said, "Okay, we have a pandemic. We're gonna do this."
They don't give judges crystal balls. I can
But
tell you.
what did that do for you for the year
I will tell you, and
plus?
it's still doing things because there are things that we're going to try to implement better that we haven't had. We have to do things over time with budgets and working with the commission. But it did the thing it did for us helped us innovate in terms of customer service remotely. So.
Better ways to
our
do business.
online tag renewal skyrocketed during that time. We really pushed it. We really pushed people to know how they can do that, and that has continued. That goes in line with so we've done a few different things over those 2.5 years. We've got a new upfront software system that has dramatically increased our proficiency so that we have shorter lines generally.
For your tags.
For our tags, for our car tags, generally. I mean, obviously, if you hit the right time of the day, the right time of the month, it's still going to be a little busy, but it's not going to be what it was 5 years ago, I promise.
They're not backed up out the door.
They're not backed up out the door like they were 5. So we made that change up front. So, and that's made a word of a lot of difference. Now, that entailed training our people, getting people learning something, but it was an investment for the people of Tallapoosa County who have to deal with us. I hate to stand in lines. I don't want people to stand in lines. We tried to work on that. Now, that combined with the amount of online tag renewals has even more so dramatically decreased our wait times, increased our efficiencies. And so it's just helped us in that regard. And I feel like we can be more front facing with the way we promote that, but we're just going to have to see some changes with our online web portal and whatnot. But that's one of those things that can be done over time. And it's one of those things, if you have a question, if you don't want to do it through the mail, or you don't want to do it, you can't come, or you're older or whatever, give us a call and we'll walk you through it. It's
What's
not
that
a
number?
problem.
Then we'll go to commercial
It's
break.
256-825-4266. That's our main Dayville number. If somebody doesn't answer, it just means we're real busy, and call back.
825-4266. We'll be right back. It's 7:47. Soup to go tonight. Everyone's welcome. Soup supper for everyone. Drive through or walk up. 5:30 to 6. One soup dinner to go for each person present. First come, first serve. And that's from the folks from the St. James Episcopal Church. Thank y'all. In this state, it's against the law to whisper in anybody's ear. Our judge over here, probate judge, Tallapoosa, his mom, and Eddie fixing to head to that state, Alaska.
Alaska, yes. My mother and her
I love
husband.
that woman.
and Her husband, well, thank you. I love her too. I was texting her just before I came in, told her I was going to be on. She was sitting at the lake drinking coffee. I told her she needed to put the radio on. I'll be on in a minute. But
Good morning to you.
She's leaving, I believe, Friday, Thursday or Friday, I forget. I think she comes back from the lake Thursday and leaves Friday, but it might be she comes back. I don't know. She leaves this week for Alaska, so it's a trip they've had planned. And so I'm excited for them, but that's all they do. She's enjoying retirement.
Good for
and
her.
That's why people ask me all the time, because she used to could see her everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can see her at church usually on Sunday unless she's gone off somewhere.
Yeah.
Or that's about it. Other than that, you'll have to pin her down. You have to pin her down. She stays in the road.
Alaska's one of those states that's on a lot of people's bucket list. The only reason I knew that yesterday, I sent a text to my family because I saw Charlie Smith and his wife on their 40th anniversary out there at, I forget the name of the park, but it was a roaring little stream right next to their cabin. There was a restaurant. I'm thinking, I have got to go there. So I sent a text out just of that picture to the family. They can tell me what state that was in. We'd all go to Alaska. Well, Ellen gave him a hint about the whispering, and then you start Googling. You can't Google a picture, but I went ahead and told the family, if I go to Alaska, I ain't carrying nobody but me and my wife. And Ellen said, would you fly out there? I said, no, I'm not flying anywhere. But there's so many places that a picture can sell you on anything.
Well, let me encourage you to get on that airplane, Kenny. I'll tell you two stories. One, when my great-grandmother, Tula, Odine Moran's mother, had
What's her name?
Tula.
I love that name.
Tula Brown. She had a stroke, and my grandmother was on a church building trip in Pennsylvania. And now there was nobody. I mean, there were other sons and daughters to help take care of her, but did she fly back from Pennsylvania? No, she didn't. She got on an Amtrak and rode Amtrak all the way from Pennsylvania because she wouldn't get on an airplane. She was deathly afraid of airplanes and bridges where you couldn't see the other side.
You know what? I'm kind of the same way.
But I'll tell you, my daddy was never a flyer either. I was flying around Lake Martin when I was in the 5th grade. I flew to Washington, D.C. when I was in 6th grade because my parents let me go to our school. I mean, I've flown a lot, but my daddy wasn't a flyer either till he got involved with church ministries and ended up flying to Venezuela a couple times, flying to Honduras.
Serious.
And so after that, he didn't have it. Flying to a Honduran airport where the runway's not long enough and they have to make circles and swoop down and just land it. After that, he didn't have a problem getting on a Delta in Atlanta. So,
wow.
So I'm just encouraging you to get on that airplane, KD. It's really not that big a deal. The biggest problem's been having to wear a mask for 2 or 3 hours the last few times. But
Do you still have to when you fly now?
Well, I assume so. You did in April. I flew to New York to see my new niece in April, and we weren't able to go to the hospital or whatnot. But I went a month and a half after she was born.
Did you out of Atlanta?
I flew out of Atlanta, flew into JFK. My brother picked me up. He lives about a half hour from JFK if it's a non-traffic time. And so
I was going to say he lives a couple of miles then.
No, he lives on Long Island.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you get there not at a busy time, it's about a half hour. So fly in, get there at a non-busy time, fly out on a Sunday, which is never busy. And so anyway, yeah, you had to wear a mask. But the airport was really not that bad. I got to Atlanta early, so I had supper or a late, I guess it would have been a late dinner there at the Atlanta airport, and they were not, and then when I did the same on a Sunday afternoon, when I left, I figured, well, New York's going to be nuts, right? And it may be a little bit, but the airport really wasn't that bad. They let me sit down and eat something, and without hassling me between bites or whatever. And so the airplane was very similar. You got your peanuts and your Coca-Cola, and while you eating your peanuts, Coca-Cola, nobody say anything to you. So it wasn't too bad, other than it's just aggravating.
People are beginning to travel again, and I'm glad
there
to
was
see
not.
that.
There wasn't. I was in a Delta airplane that had 4 seats in the middle and 2 on either side, and I bet there wasn't 3 empty seats in the whole plane.
Wow. So that has.
It ain't no. Don't think you're gonna get a seat with nobody beside you. That's over and done. They're flying now.
They're flying. They're busy again. Just talking about busy, guys. Judge, it's a non-election year.
It is a non-election year.
So, I used to get kidded. It's non-election year. What do you guys do? We get ready for election year.
Well, we've got plenty to do, and we actually have changed out our handicap accessible touchscreen voting machines. We partnered with the Secretary of State to do that, so we'll have all new machines. I think you might see some more uptake in terms of people using them, but we'll see. But the other ones were outdated and they had to be replaced. Thankfully, with Help America Vote Act money combined with the Secretary of State's office, we were able to do that. But I will tell you, campaign season's already started. Elections may not have started, but I was at Senator Tom Watley's last Saturday for his annual picnic or birthday party he has there in Auburn. And he's kind enough to send me an invitation, but I don't, you don't have to RSVP. I think anybody's welcome to come. But anyway, you could tell you had Linda Blanchard, who was running for the United States Senate there, Katie Britt, that was running for the United States Senate there. I finally met Judge Deborah Jones. She's a circuit court judge out of North Alabama, close to Gadsden. She's one of the 2 candidates for the U.S. State Supreme Court. She was very nice, real conservative lady. I really liked her. But anyway, I think her son may be a preacher or something. I saw him posted on Facebook. But regardless, they were out in full force. So don't be surprised if somebody asks for your vote, because they're out there, the people that are having to run next year. Thankfully, that's not me.
Getting ready for that. We'll be right back. Hey, just got an open Santa Claus. He said if we didn't want to fly, we can ride in the sleigh with him and Rudolph. Thank you for being on with us. Look forward
to see you.
My pleasure. I hope you have me back on soon.
We'll do that.
Love y'all.
Hey, we'll be right back. Come on.